The sun had barely cleared the spire of the Kronos building when the first hydraulic hiss echoed off the glass canyons. Elias, perched in the climate-controlled cab of the PC-360, felt the familiar vibration of the Palladian of the Kaken, felt the familiar vibration of the Amphibian Common 300 horsepower engine settle into a steady thrum against his spine. Beneath his tracks, the Grand Boulevard, a 10-lane artery of the city, pulsed with the silent, electric hum of morning commuters. He pulled the left joystick, and the massive yellow boom arched upward like a waking predator, its steel skin catching the harsh glint of the 8 a.m. light. On the ground, Alex was a blur of neon orange and digital interfaces, his tablet synced to the excavator's LiDAR array which peeled back the layers of the street on his screen. Digging depth at 4.5 meters, Elias, he spoke into the comms, his voice competing with the rhythmic clack-clack of the magnetic tram passing overhead. The bucket dipped, its reinforced teeth biting into the compacted layers of 21st century asphalt and 22nd century synthetic fill. With a guttural groan of straining metal, the earth gave way, revealing the ancient, rusted skeleton of a water pipe that hadn't seen the light of day in 80 years. Nearby, the white Volvo haul truck reversed with a melodic chime, its heavy-duty tires crunching over gravel and debris. Elias swung the cab with surgical precision, the 5-ton load of earth hovering momentarily over the truck's bed before releasing with a heavy, bone-shaking thud. Dust swirled in the draft of a passing high-speed shuttle, coating the safety barriers where a small crowd of onlookers had gathered. Among them stood Maya, her face pressed against the mesh fence, mesmerized by the way the hydraulic pistons slid in and out of their sleeves like polished silver bone. As the morning wore on, the heat began to rise from the pavement, shimmering against the backdrop of the vertical gardens that draped down the neighboring skyscrapers. Every scoop of the bucket was a calculated gamble. They were threading a needle between a high-voltage power trunk and a fiber-optic spine that kept the city's AI grid breathing. Alex watched the pressure gauges on his screen climb as they hit a shelf of granite, the excavator's engine pitching higher, a mechanical scream that signaled the raw power being diverted to the bucket's edge. By noon, the trench was a perfect geometric scar, ready for the first segment of the hyperlink vacuum tube. The contrast was stark. The raw, brown dirt of the Earth's crust exposed in a vast world of white plastic and shimmering alloys. Elias wiped sweat from his brow, looking out at the skyline, a forest of cranes and glass, realizing that for all the city's high-tech polish, it still relied on the grit of yellow machines and the men who steered them. The truck pulled away, loaded with the weight of the old world, making room for the infrastructure of the new. As the rhythmic dance of the excavator continued, one bucket of earth at a time, building the foundation of a future that never stopped moving. As the final sunset of the project dipped below the jagged skyline, Alex stood by the edge of the now-sealed road, watching the first high-speed pod glide silently through the tunnel they had carved. He realized then that the true strength of the city didn't lie in the height of its towers or the speed of its tech, but in the patience of the process. The lesson was etched into every scar on Terra's yellow frame. Greatness is not a sudden spark, but the result of thousands of small, deliberate actions. Just as a mountain is moved one stone at a time, a vision is realized one shovel of dirt at a time. Maya, watching from the sidewalk, carried this truth home with her, that no dream is too vast if you have the courage to start with the first inch of ground beneath your feet. In the end, the city taught them that while we reach for the clouds, we must never lose respect for the dirt, the sweat, and the steady, humble work that holds the world together.